All right, Rob, let's get into it. The big news, you mentioned it. Sean Payton, now the coach of the Denver Broncos, or it's, reportedly basically a done deal. And, so he is going to be the man that is charged with fixing Russell Wilson and getting the Broncos back in the mix, Rob, in the AFC West, if not the entire conference. Obviously, that's the goal down the line. So what are your thoughts?
Hello, is this on? The Denver Broncos, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You didn't make a mistake in trying to upgrade your coaching situation. I understand why you would want to get Sean Payton, but you can't give up everything to do what they're doing. This reeks, Chris, of desperation and being irrational. They gave up a boatload to get Russell Wilson and commit over $200 million guaranteed to an aging quarterback that was having issues. Now you go and get a coach attached to with a tariff. You got to pay with draft picks, and you got to pay him a lot of money. And this whole idea to think that this is gonna automatically win you a championship and set your franchise up is not reality. It's very, very difficult. You're already in a tough division. You're already with a quarterback that was your problem last year more than your coach. You had a great defense. This was about the quarterback not living up to his end of the bargain. So I just wonder why, and I get it, they're the richest owner in the NFL and they got gazillions to throw around and they want to make the people in Denver happy, Chris, and I've told you, Denver's a football town. Everybody loves the Broncos. I once had a friend tell me, like when he was having a wedding on a Sunday, the people told him, don't have your wedding on a Sunday because people might not come if there's a Broncos game. And he was like, I'm Jewish. We have weddings on Sunday. I don't care about the Broncos game. You know what I mean? But anyway, I get the sense of wanting to win for Denver. Chris, this franchise is a proud franchise that has won championships. They won 7 years ago. I get it. It wasn't last week or last year or 2 years ago. But my God, they act like they've never won anything. And they just let's give up everything to try to make this happen. I'm cool with upgrading the coach. I'm cool with at the time when they were trying to upgrade a quarterback and thinking that they got this stuff, got Russell Wilson. But it seems like an awful lot has been given up over the last 2 years in that division where, I'm sorry, even with the additions that they've made, I still wouldn't look at them as a favorite in that division.
No. I mean, the favorite, Rob, until further notice, is Kansas City every year. I like what the Chargers did by bringing in Kellen Moore for the offensive coordinator to work with Justin Herbert. That don't make them the favorite. I don't care who the Las Vegas Raiders get, Aaron Rodgers, whoever. They're not going to be the favorite in that division. So I'm with you there. But look, Rob, they are desperate. I think it was the move to make. And look, they probably overpaying Peyton. I don't know what he's getting, but the reports earlier were that he wanted 20 to 25 million. We'll find out, I guess, at some point what that is. But they are the wealthiest owners in the league, and they can afford it. And the bottom line, the mistake they made was that they gave Russell Wilson that contract extension before the season even started, thinking, understandably that he would be the Russell Wilson he's always been, and he wasn't close. And so you have to hire a coach. Got a good defense. You got some good receivers. You got a good running back in Javonte Williams. The question is Russell Wilson, and he's not going anywhere. So this hire had to be a coach who would fix Russell Wilson, or at least have the best chance of fixing it. And Sean Payton, of the guys out there, he looks like the guy with the best shot. So I think it was the right move. And you're right, they gave up, another, 2 draft picks. But they do have a lot of good players already. And I think this is about getting them back to relevancy. And, you know, maybe in a few years they'll be able to compete for a Super Bowl. But I think right now it's about getting Russ right. And we talked about it earlier, right? Remember early in the season when it was about, man, if they just average 18, 19 points a game, they would have a winning record, a really good record. Well, that's Sean Payton's charge. And so I'm fine with it. And you're right that it reeks of desperation. But like I said, they're desperate. They are absolutely desperate because of they're locked into this deal with Russell Wilson.
Here's the other issue that I do have. That there was another candidate out there, Chris, who's had success in the NFL. He doesn't have a Super Bowl in his back pocket. I've been critical of this guy until the cows come home. But Jim Harbaugh's success in the NFL and what he did with Colin Kaepernick and that 49ers team, I would have opted for that because I don't have to give up the picks. In the NFL, we had Mosley on the other day. Mosley was saying the reason Sean Payton and Jerry Jones, who are very good friends, will never strike a deal under where he was is because Jerry's not giving up picks. Because that's what you shouldn't do for a coach is give up talent. Because you need talent in the NFL, and it's hard to get when you give up your draft picks. And they gave up them to Seattle, and now they gave up more. Seattle's draft pick is going to be great, Chris, because they didn't make the playoffs, and it's going to be a great pick for them, a couple of picks, and they gave up more picks here, and I think that's where the mistake is. Jim Harbaugh was there, Chris. Jim Harbaugh was for the taking. He would have been a lot less money, and he would have also he wouldn't have cost you any picks.
Listen to you promoting Jim Harbaugh
for the NFL level. I'm keeping it real.
He's a good coach. Everywhere he's been, he's turned him around. Look, if they had hired Harbaugh, Rob, I would have been like, oh boy, that's a good hire. Because everywhere he's been, right? San Francisco was really struggling before he got there. He turned him around almost immediately. And it was immediately. And look, that's fine. I don't know that he's as good with quarterbacks. Obviously, he has success with Kaepernick and all that. But, you know, in college, he hasn't had a great quarterback. So I don't know if he's as good in quarterbacks as Peyton. Both are good coaches. That's a good point you made because you wouldn't have to give up the picks. But I think they feel like our defense is legit. The receivers are legit. The running back is legit. We just got to get this quarterback fixed. And I do think Peyton is, in my view, better at that than Harbaugh, or at least has a better track record. So that, you know, I think it was a good move, but Rob, time will tell. I think they got to be in the playoffs, or, you know, that's the charge right away, and see where they go from there. But go ahead.
All right, last thing. The Broncos. So here, essentially, Chris, the Broncos will end up trading 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, DL.
But you're combining it with Russell Wilson. I mean, that's
Shelby Harris, and handing over $200 million in salary exchange for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, and future 3rd and 4th round picks. That's what my issue is.
But
Chris.
Rob, that you can't. I don't think you should put Wilson. Look, unless Russ gets back to being Russ, that's a mistake they just made. And most of all that compensation you just threw out was for Russell Wilson, including the $200 million and all that stuff, or most of it. And so that is done. They're locked in. There's nothing they can do about it. And so now it's like, okay, are we just going to stink for the next several years? Or are we going to try to make the best of what we have? And I think that's the route they're going.